Game Plus with Oxy.
The first Top Shelf Country Cruise showed out. The bar's set at exceptional. Don't miss the second sailing in March 2027 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Summit, departing from Tampa with stops in Bimini, Key West, and Cozumel. Plus, performances from some of your favorite country artists, including Riley Green, Chris Young, Lauren Elena, and Randy Houser. Our price guarantee locks in your best deal the moment you book. No surprises. Don't settle for anything less than Top Shelf. Reserve your cabin at TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Agnes was in deep trouble with the IRS.
I owed the IRS a lot of money. I did not know what I was going to do. I was scared.
Agnes caught a break and found out about Optima Tax Relief.
But when I called Optima Tax, they guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did.
Optima stopped the IRS.
No more telephone calls, no more letters. Optima Tax took care of everything. I can finally sleep at night. I was stress-free.
Agnes was finally free from her IRS nightmare.
It was like a burden was lifted off of me, and it was a great feeling.
Are you in deep trouble with the IRS? You might want to listen to Agnes.
I would refer Optima Tax Relief to anyone because they got me debt-free from owing the IRS any more money.
Call Optima right now for your free consultation. Call 800-685-5688. 800-685-5688. 800-685-5688.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Laura, the guys really went to town on that leg of lamb.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it.
Something's wrong. I know you too well.
Jim's company is cutting his salary, and he may even get laid off. He doesn't think we'll be able to afford the mortgage.
Oh, Laura.
If you think you may be in danger of foreclosure, call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling at 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. That's mortgagehelpnow.org. This has been a public service from the NFCC.
We got out of Washington State, and I think a week after, state went on lockdown for COVID.
So then when we transitioned to Texas, it was very much so like, what are we going to do now?
Operation Homefront has allowed our family to make something of ourselves again in the world after the military.
It's completely changed the way our life is. It took us from a hopeless situation, and now we're homeowners. We have a savings account. I'm the first one to own a home out of my siblings.
Visit OperationHomefront.org to learn more.
At the YMCA, finding your why starts by making an impact together, touching lives for the better. It can be the gift of time or treasure, supporting a community through talent without measure. Here, compassion fuels commitment, finding fulfillment through enrichment, serving and improving. What a way to live, and what a gift it is to give. Find your why and get involved today at ymca.org. for a better us.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Being isolated and lonely can be harmful to your health, resulting in high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain social connections. Try a new hobby, volunteer, exercise, or use your phone or other device to stay in touch. Visit connecttoeffect.org to find resources and ways to stay connected. Presented by AARP Foundation with support from United Healthcare.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When it comes to prescription medications, it's essential to apply safe practices to protect your health and safety. To avoid misuse and abuse, never share or borrow medication. Keep your prescriptions out of the wrong hands by storing them in a lockbox and disposing of medication properly. Finally, understand your prescription information. Don't be afraid to ask your pharmacist and doctor for help. And if buying prescriptions online, be sure to use VIPS accredited pharmacies. Learn more at warerx.org, a public service from the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy Foundation.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
1230 AM, WDBZ, Cincinnati, an Urban One station. Listen online on thebuzzcincy.com. We are 1230 The Buzz, the home of the Lincoln Ware Show.
Cincinnati police are investigating a Wednesday afternoon shooting in Corryville. The incident happened at a location on Euclid Avenue. No arrests have been made, and there's been no word on the condition of the victim. Charges are being filed against a man accused of attacking a prosecutor with the Ohio Attorney General's office Wednesday in downtown Cincinnati. 50-year-old Jermaine Johnson reportedly punched the woman near 9th and Sycamore Streets. He's expected to appear in court today on charges including assault. Authorities are not pursuing charges against a person who fatally shot a man Tuesday in Walnut Hills. 47-year-old Gregory Taylor Tolliver was found wounded at a location on Kemper Lane, and he later died at a local hospital. The shooting followed what recorded video appears to show as a confrontation between Taylor Tolliver and the shooter. Police are calling the shooting justifiable homicide. Bond is set at $1 million for a Dearborn County, Indiana man accused of having sex with underage girls. 21-year-old Braden Phillips faces charges that include child molesting and sexual misconduct. I'm Heather Pasco on 1230 The Buzz.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
The Lincoln Ware Show is on.
In 3, 2, 1.
Now.
Right now.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
Lincoln, 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 for Bincoln, banana, pineapple, Bincoln, feet, fine, for Mincoln, Lincoln.
They say this cat Lincoln is a bad mother. We're just talking about Lincoln.
Wake up, Cincinnati. It's time to turn up the buzz. From Bond Hill to Price Hill, from Avondale to Madisonville, from OTR to downtown, you are tuned in to WDBZ, the Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station. Kevin Aldridge sitting in for Lincoln Ware today, the incomparable, the unmatchable, the irreplaceable golden voice of Lincoln Ware. Getting his holiday weekend started off early. So I'll be with you today until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And man, is there a lot to talk about in the city, around the nation, and the world. Happy to be in the seat again. It's been a minute. It's been a while since I've been in for Lincoln. He's been faithfully coming in every day, doing his job. I see he took his Crown Royal with him today, Terrence. Not that I was going to hit it anyway while he was gone, but guess he didn't trust the brother.
He's so, generous with his belongings. He's so generous. He's so generous and trusting, apparently.
All right. So we'll have to get through the next 3 hours without a shot of Crown. I'm guessing that's how Lincoln does it every day, but we'll make it do. We'll make it happen. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, I am the opinion and engagement editor for the Cincinnati Enquirer. Also, am a pastor here in the city, youth pastor at the Great Allen Temple AME Church on Reading Road, where the Reverend Dr. Alphonse Allen is the pastor. Also co-own the Ohio Kings, a semi-pro basketball team here in the city of Cincinnati. Speaking of basketball, where do you think LeBron James is going, Terrence? That's kind of the big question that's hanging out there right now if you're a basketball fan is where is LeBron going to take his talents now?
Chicago,
the Bulls. You think he want to step into that Hornets? He already dealing with the Jordan comparisons. I don't. If I was him, I don't know that I would want to do that. It was bad enough. I thought, he's stepping in for Kobe and Magic in L.A., but he got him one there. I mean, I guess if he could go to Chicago and get him a chip, that might shut down a lot of that conversation, that Jordan-LeBron conversation, if he was able to do that on his way out the door. I don't know. Well, I'm happy because I'm a 76ers fan, and we just got Jaylen Brown basically stole him for a bag of potato chips and a player who might just be as old as LeBron James. I don't know how old Paul George is, but at any rate, we got a steal. So exciting time if you're a basketball fan to see what's happening with NBA free agency. So we're coming up on the 4th of July holiday. Some of y'all will be off work, I imagine. If you get that national holiday off at your job, you'll be off tomorrow, have a long weekend. But what I'm curious to know, and I just want to know if I'm the only one feeling this way. I don't think that I am, but I feel like we're celebrating our 250th anniversary as a country, but it doesn't feel like much of a celebratory environment right now. We got the 4th of July coming up. This should be a time where we are celebrating our country, taking pride in our country, the fireworks, the patriotism, red, white, and blue, and all of that. But it just doesn't feel like a time for celebration in America right now. And maybe that could be because of the guy that's in the White House right now. Maybe maybe it's just me. Maybe because I'm not a fan of Trump and the things that he's doing. Maybe if we had a different president, maybe if we had somebody else who was leading our country right now, I might feel a little bit differently about that. The environment, the feeling in the country might feel a little bit different. But I don't know, man. It's just I'm just not feeling it right now. And I'm wondering if you all out there are feeling it as well. Are you going to be celebrating this 4th of July? Are you flying a flag out in front of your house? Are you going to be reading your Declaration of Independence and going over your pocket-sized Constitution, refreshing your understanding of this country? Or are you just not feeling it? Are you just going to be low-key, maybe chill with your family, might do some fireworks? I'm curious to know how you all out there are feeling. One of the things that comes up, and I think for Black Americans, I think these sort of national holidays kind of carry a double edge to them. You know what I mean? I think our history with this country, Black people's history with this country is so complex. It's different than white people's experience with this country. So their sense of patriotism and our sense of patriotism, not that Black folks don't love America or that we don't feel patriotic, but I think the bigger question is we kind of feel like it's like, yeah, we love America, but does America love us? Like, I think that's a good question for the audience today as we celebrate America's 250th. Do you feel like America loves you? Because I don't want to put that question out there, do you love America? Because that puts us in a position where it sounds like we're not patriotic and we don't appreciate the country, which I don't think is true. But I think the question that most Black Americans have is, does America appreciate us? Does America love us? Because I think over history, Black folks have shown their love for this country, fighting in wars when they didn't even have freedom or certain rights and privileges in this country. So I don't ever think Black folks' commitment and dedication to this country can be in question. But I think a A great question is does America love us? I don't know. How do you feel about it? I'll put that topic out there today since we're on the verge of celebrating America's 250th to see how you're feeling. First, are you in a celebratory mood? If you are, how are you going to celebrate? What are you going to do? And then tackling this question of whether or not we think that America loves us. One other thing that was in the news that's local, that's kind of a national, more of a national topic, but I think earlier this week we had a community meeting that looked at the police traffic stop data. There was a community meeting earlier this week, I believe it was in Mount Airy. If I'm not mistaken, I might have that wrong. I have to go back and check during the break to make sure I got my location correct. But anyway, some residents came around the table to discuss and talk about the traffic stop data that Campaign Zero recently released. And I just think it's fascinating, the reaction that everybody has kind of had to this data that's come out from Campaign Zero. The first thing I thought about when I heard about this data being released was, man, you've got almost, 15, 17 years worth of data that nobody's looked at. And I'm like, why hasn't the city previously taken a look at this traffic stop data? Like, why are we waiting for some outside group, for the public defender's office to go elicit the help of an outside group to come in and analyze this data? Shouldn't this have been data that the city was already examining? The police department and our leadership was already examining. I mean, that was the whole point of the collaborative agreement, to be able to collect this type of data so that we could take a look at it and understand whether our policing is getting any better, whether it's about the same, or whether it's getting worse. And so now you get this outside group who comes in, they analyze the data, and now everybody is tripping over the results. Well, first of all, they didn't create the data. They didn't generate the data. They requested the public records that the city already had. This is city data. This is city information. They're crunching the numbers. So then there was this big conversation about the methodology. This wasn't taken into consideration. That wasn't taken into consideration. And so I think about a week ago, I did an interview with the executive director of Campaign Zero, and he said that they even went back and added in the info that the city said was missing, that they were complaining about, and the results still basically came out the same. So now we're spending a bunch of money, taxpayer dollars, to go out and have another quote unquote independent group look at this data, and we'll see what they come back with. We'll see if the numbers are similar or if they're not. But for me, the whole reaction to this thing has just been interesting, that and not unexpected, because people are going to go into their various silos and protecting their turf. If you're pro-police, you certainly don't want to deal with any allegations of racial bias or anything like that. If you are on the side of police reform and that sort of thing, you may have a sort of "I told you so" or "we knew it," or Cincinnati really hasn't gotten much better in the last 25 years, despite all of the police reforms and things of that nature. But for me, I think instead of these knee-jerk reactions that we need to have, we really do need to look at the numbers and not come into it with our feelings or anything like that, but a critical examination of it to find out what the problem really is. How this should be all about, how do we improve policing in the city of Cincinnati? Or if we are improving policing and the numbers bear that out, then that should be celebrated as well. But I think this notion of people getting into their tribes and factions and sort of fighting or resisting what the data says, I think that's real interesting, because it always says to me that, are you really interested in trying to move the city forward, solving problems, making sure we're doing the best we can to keep our communities safe, but also be fair to residents? It seems like there are a lot of people who are more concerned with the optics than what the data actually shows. So hopefully, we'll see what happens when the city's independent report comes back and what it finds. Be curious to know what you think about that and any other topics that you want to discuss. That's why I'm here, to talk about what you want to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we got Bill on hold, and we'll get to him and some other calls and address the topics I put out and yours as well. The Lincoln Ware Show, Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock.
Every weekday, 12:30 The Buzz has you covered. Let's go! With new entertainment.
So, Terrence, how do I have to, if I want to see the comments, I got to go on to YouTube?
You should be able to, it should be set up over there.
So what's in front of me right now is the call list. So that's directly in front of me.
Okay. Let me see. Wake that computer up right there. Oh, okay. Let me see. The one to your right. See, let's see. One of those. It is either that one or the one to your right. It should be. You should be able to see, because I got control of one of them. I got YouTube. YouTube Live is up on one of those, but I got to. I'm gonna grab it in here.
Okay.
Under that computer to your far right.
This one?
At WIZF 1011, all caps. And this should be the password and the user.
So is there a mouse or something you call it?
I think that one mouse in front of you controls both. I think it does. funny than nothing. All righty. You might have used your cell phone.
Yeah, that's cool. I got it right here.
Populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit OutdoorStewards.org.
1230 WDBZ, The Buzz, your official talk station.
It is official, you understand me?
.1230 WDBZ, The Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge sitting in for Lincoln Ware today until 1 o'clock, rolling with some of the best callers and listeners in the tri-state area. Good to be back in the saddle. And we're going to go right down to the Crime Stopper headquarters and talk to Detective Tiffany Green. Detective Green, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing great, Getting ready for a long holiday weekend. How about you?
Same here, a long, hot one.
Yes. Got to stay cool. It is no joke out there, I'm telling you.
It is. Everybody stay cool and hydrated.
For sure. So who are we looking for today?
Cincinnati Police District 2 is looking for Lena Rogers. Ms. Rogers is wanted for felony firearm in a motor vehicle and felony possession of drugs. On June 21st of 2026, Ms. Rogers was involved in a single vehicle accident. When police arrived, Ms. Rogers was found to be in possession of a firearm and a bag of white powdery substance. Lena Rogers is a black female. She's 41 years old. She's 5'7" and 150 pounds. Lena Rogers has no known criminal history and was last known to live on Linwood Avenue and Mount Lookout. Eric Weedmeyer is wanted by the Ohio Adult Parole Authority for a felony parole violation. Mr. Weedmeyer was originally charged with robbery. Eric Weedmeyer is a white male. He's 37 years old. He's 5'6" and 150 pounds. Eric Weedmeyer has a criminal history of domestic violence and assault and was last known to live in Dayton, Ohio. Listeners, if anyone has information on where police can find Lena Rogers or Eric Weedmeyer, please call Crime Stoppers at 513-352-3040 or submit a tip online at crime-stoppers.us.
All right, that was Detective Tiffany Green. Detective Green, you stay cool and you stay safe out there, all right?
You as well. Have a good one.
All right. That was Detective Tiffany Green. If you know anything about the individuals they're looking for, call 352-3040, day or night, cash for your clues. All right, we're going to get right to the phones, and we got Bill who's been waiting on the line. Bill, what's going on this morning?
Good afternoon. It was great to hear from you again.
Yes, sir. Same to you. Happy 4th.
All right. Happy 4th of July to everybody. The key is to stay safe. Watch the drinking and everything, all that stuff that y'all doing out there in the streets. You know, there are other people that don't do that kind of stuff, so you need to show them the respect and everything. You know, just being cool. And, you know, I want to send a shout-out to Mike, a maintenance man over at the Carthian Apartments, and I want to send a shout-out to my man Chico. I turned in my Sunday Soul Classic request, Cameo's Skin I'm In. And that has a message in that music to what we go through every day in life, you know, where we have to, you know, change our ways, our personality of how we talk and how we come across people and everything and all that, and being judged by the color of our skin. but not really by the character. And, I stand strong behind that song very much. So I send a shout-out to my brothers and sisters. You know what? Stay strong, okay? And knock off all the bull stuff that, you're doing and everything. And that's the message to the Trump supporters. It's just a matter of time, okay, before you realize that man does not care about you or anybody else. He don't even care about himself. But, it is, like I said, keeping God in the key in your life. Take care, Mr. Aldridge.
All
You're
right.
doing a good job.
All right. Thank you, Brother Bill. I appreciate you. All right. Let's go to the Miss Nettie. Miss Nettie. How we doing this morning, Miss Nettie?
I'm doing good, Rev. And to your first lady, okay, Miss Albright.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I said hello.
I would do that, Miss Nettie. Are you ready for the fourth?
The real Terrence Howard on the ones and twos. Thank you. Thank him for being there. And I thank you for being there, too, Mr. Kevin Aldridge. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to send out a shout-out and a birthday wish for Tamiko Malden. Okay? She's Lincoln's daughter. Okay? Lincoln and Sharon's daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
It's her birthday today.
All right. Happy birthday.
Oh, and happy 4th of July for y'all, everyone, okay?
All right. Miss Nettie,
that's all I have to say.
Miss Nettie, you gonna watch some fireworks, Miss Nettie?
Well, no, I'm not going to watch no. I see enough around here, okay?
All right. I hear you, Miss Nettie. You have
have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Hey, Miss Nettie, she kept it 100. Then she said, "I get enough fireworks out there. I ain't gonna be out there watching that." From beautiful Lincoln Heights, Miss Nettie. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we got Langston, we got Pharaoh, we got T all on hold. We're gonna get to their calls and your calls, and we're gonna keep the party rolling as we head into the 4th of July weekend, celebrating America's 250th anniversary. This is the Lincoln Ware Show, 1230 WDBZ.
Cincinnati. Want to stay plugged in with 1230 The Buzz and get the inside scoop sent to your phone?
Hey, man, Miss Nettie, what did she say? So when she mentioned my wife, she got it right when she came back to me at the end. Yeah. But what did she say? What did she say? All bright? Was that what she had?
Oil rig. She just, yeah. I think she's had a little nip this morning. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. I think we kind of established it. That's kind of the morning ritual. But all right, let's see what we got going on here in our chat. What's up? Good morning, chat. It's good to see all of y'all. Appreciate everybody who's listening, everybody who's in the chat. Let me see here. I missed a lot because I'm just now getting on here, so I am trying to catch up where we at. D. White says, everyone be mindful of fireworks. My niece lost her house over 12 years ago due to kids playing with sparklers. Thank God for home insurance. Yeah, you got to be careful out there with them fireworks, not just catching your house on fire, but every year, they have stories about somebody who lose some fingers, a hand, something, get injured messing around with fireworks. So if you got fireworks and you set them off at home, make sure you are being careful, because I don't want you to wind up in the paper on Monday dealing with some injury. She did say Mrs. Albright, Samuel. She did say that. Magnificent Love says 65 years old and I have never celebrated the 4th of July. Someone enlighten me on what this day really stands for. See, Tim says, I have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, I love that, man. I love when people try to hit you with that. Every time somebody who is a Trump supporter says that, that means they have no good answer for any of the questions or statements that you put forward. Like, that's the ultimate deflection comment, is to say Trump derangement syndrome rather than address the issue that you bring up head on. Because they don't have any good answers, because there are no good answers for Trump. The fact that you think people who call out his conduct are deranged, but the man himself is not deranged, you know, says a lot about you. And the fact that you think Trump is the greatest president ever, that also says something. Because I don't think anybody, any historian, any analyst, any sane person would agree with that statement. So Cleaver 202 says, okay, you put a message on Facebook. I'll try to see if I can flip over from this to that and take a look at it. Let's see, White Lion says, white history lesson. We were taught in school that the British was taxing us this unbearable amount of money, but really is what America trying to get out of paying for. 1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station, the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge keeping Lincoln Ware's chair warm on a hot Thursday morning. We got plenty of people waiting on the line for calls. You know, it's interesting. I was, during the breaks, I kind of look in the chat and see what people are talking about. And so, a couple of people had an issue with my opening monologue, particularly my comment about, might we be feeling more festive if we had a different dude in the White House other than Donald Trump, and you get the standard reply from all MAGA folks. Oh, you got Trump derangement syndrome. Like, that's anybody who supports Trump, likes Trump or whatever, like that's their standard clapback for anything that you say. And what that always says to me is people who do that means that you have no good answer or reply to the statements that people make, the facts that they lay out in front of you. And I get it, because that dude is hard to defend. Like, it's you have to make yourself look like a fool and twist yourself into all kind of pretzels to try to explain away and excuse the stuff that this guy does. So Trump derangement syndrome is just a quick, easy way to avoid having to make yourself look like a fool and try to make the other person look crazy.
And it's not like it's an automatic dislike of the guy. If he did a great job as being president, it would be totally different.
Right. And look, has Trump managed to do a few things that might be positive in his presidency? Sure, nobody is all bad, but he does a lot of shady, questionable, bad things. I mean, like, dude has made $3 billion off of pimping the presidency. His crypto coin that has absolutely no value. I mean, like, he done made all the money off the crypto coin, but there are a lot of people who invested in that who done lost behind that. You know, it's like it's what he does. It's been this dude's track record, whether you're talking about Trump University, Trump Stakes, you know, the casino. Like Trump is, he's not this great businessman. He's a great con man, I think. He's a guy who knows how to take advantage of the system. He's a guy that knows how to hold banks hostage because they've loaned him so much money and given him so much money that, you know, they can't afford to not do business with him. He's good at taking advantage of gullible people who are willing to buy Trump Bibles and gold shoes and pieces of a jail suit. I mean, he done pimped the you-know-what out of his constituency. The same people who can't afford the high gas prices that he's responsible for. I mean, it's just, it's as Lincoln would say, unbelievable. All right, we're going to go to the phones. Let's see what Langston's got to say. Langston, what's on your mind this morning?
That's the Kevin. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Excellent. Doing great, sir. Shout out to the First Lady, Mrs. Albright. Oh, man. I'm scared. Boy, I really would love to dig into that, what you just talked about, but I'm going to go ahead and stay on task with these few points. You asked a great question. Does this country care about us? And I would say, honestly, the short answer would obviously be no. But I would like to say also that the majority of people all want the same thing. We all want a good living wage. I think I might be we may be the last generation of remembering one employment would take care of the whole household and still go on vacations and be able to do all these good things. Everyone wants access to good food. You want to have quality food. You know, you don't want to have to guess on what you're eating. And we all want clean water, and we want clean air, and we want access, if you would like to, pursue education. This country was built on higher education. And literally, they are running the point of all of that. Smaller wages, terrible climate, and trying to eliminate education, because we all know from a lot of these countries that want to control the people, you keep them dumb, keep them hungry, and you keep them uneducated. And then what do you have left is racism. Blame somebody else. It's somebody else's fault that your life is terrible.
Yep.
And I think, honestly, this is what the driving wedge is, to keep people angry, ignorant, and confused. And I want to also just touch on this last point. As black people, we are always going to be resilient. We come from a stock of a bloodline that has probably gone through some of the most horrific atrocities that any other people have ever gone through. And I mean everyone, because through that, we have still strived to be great. And I think that when we look back on all of this is what will continue to drive us into the next generation. I think we need to hold strong to that. When they try to deny slavery, or try to deny all these things that we have gone through and try to make them as something that's just, we're over that. No, we live that. It's in our blood. We've lived that, and it continues to drive us. And I think that's what makes us stronger, because we're not going anywhere. And I will end with this. If anyone ever needs to look at to show them that this is true, stock market crash, when people were taking their lives jumping out of buildings, that was the same time frame of the Harlem Renaissance. So I will leave you with that, my friend, and you continue to have a great show.
All right. Thanks, Langston. I appreciate that. You know, Langston hit on a lot of really good points. You know, I was just having a vigorous debate with a colleague of mine at the paper the other day about the economic and educational messages that Langston just brought up. And he's right. At the most basic level, we all want the same things. And one of the things that we've gotten away from in our political conversation, because we get drug into, you know, a lot of these cultural conversations, which are not unimportant. But the main thing is you want people to be able to get a job that makes a good, livable wage, where you ain't got to go out and work 2 or 3 jobs to try to make ends meet and be away from your family and do all of that. you ought to be able to get a good job like you used to be able to in this country, where you can feed your family and take care of your kids and send them to college and all of those good things. But the problem that we've got right now, which I think is at the heart of why our economic situation is what it is in America, is greed. It's corporate greed. It's the millionaire and billionaire class greed. It's these companies that have to cut jobs, cut services, so that they can reach 1 to 2 to 3% more of a return for an investor that has bought stock in their publicly traded company, right? And this is money that most of these folks don't even need. It's money that, because I have to meet these investor expectations, right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut 5,000 jobs, or we're going to, reduce this, that, or the other, because we got to meet our investor expectations. And these are all folks who have more money than they'll be able to spend in their lifetime. Most of them. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. And this is the type of thing that happens that creates this false sense of scarcity in our country, where there's not enough money to go around. There's plenty of money to go around. The problem is you just got about 1% of the people in this country that got it all. And the rest of us are fighting over scraps. And what Langston said is what I think the wealthy class is very adept at doing is getting the rest of us to fight over crumbs. And then they make it seem like it's the immigrant, it's the black person, it's the Mexican. That is the reason why poor white folks in this country ain't getting no opportunity. I'm telling you right now, black folks and the immigrants are not the reason that poor white people in this country are not getting ahead. The Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezoses of the world, those guys, the ones who claim to be job creators, but where are the jobs they creating? If they're such great job creators, why ain't nobody making livable? Why are fewer people making livable wages? If they're these great job creators, why are they moving factories and other things overseas where they can get cheap labor instead of keeping those factories and things here in the United States and employing American citizens for those jobs? But these are the people that a lot of people cape for, because it's like, capitalism and I'm not against capitalism. I'm against greed. We should all have something to say about greed. And that is the biggest obstacle that we have in this country right now. So, Langston, thank you for your call. I think you brought up a lot of good points. Can't get to them all because we got a bunch of other people on hold. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have T, Pharaoh, Ray, and Rick Jr. all on hold. We're going to get to you, I promise, when we come back from this break. 1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati.
Bringing you the stories that go beyond the headlines. The Tavis Smiley Show.
This is Mr. Aldridge, I was thinking the other day that back in the mid-'90s, when I was working, I worked at a manufacturing plant over in Price Hill. And let me see, back then my rent was maybe $355 a month or something like that for my rent.
Wow.
And I was taking home probably $600 a week. And I'm thinking, man, I should be able to just pay my rent out of one check.
Right.
And nowadays, you can't do that anymore.
Can't do that anymore.
Can't do it anymore, man. It's crazy.
I mean, a lot of people are like, your rent should be no more than like 30% of what you bring home. So like a third of what you bring home. A lot of people are up 40, almost 50% just trying to have a roof over their head. And, a lot of that, has to do with inflation. And that's why that's such a big deal with inflation being up around 4% right now. It's like prices just keep going up. Businesses just keep raising the prices of goods, but people's paychecks ain't moving with that inflation. Like, I mean, I don't know about you or how many people who are listening, but the days of annual raises at a lot of places is out the window. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I would wonder how many people get raises every year, right? To just keep up with inflation. And that's when inflation is like at 2 or 3%. I mean, I want to know the person out there who's getting 4 or 5% raise every year on their job. That ain't happening. I don't believe that's happening anywhere that they doling out those kind of pay increases at companies. So, and it's not just rent. I mean, we know rent's been going up, particularly here in Cincinnati. It's crazy. I mean, what is it, about $1,800 a month now for rent on average in Cincinnati? Some people ain't paying that for a house note. You know, if you able to get into that, and that's a whole other thing, like the amount of money that it takes nowadays with the average price of a home to even get in the game to buy a home. You know, it's a crazy down payment amount. So it's like, even if you wanted to get in that game, let's just say if I could afford $1,800 a month for a house, if I'm lucky enough to get that kind of mortgage payment, I still might have to have $60,000 to $80,000 down to put down just to get into that game, and that's tough right now. Yeah, that's tough. All right, let's see what we talking about, chat. The wealthy class is also good at getting poor people to fight their battles for them, literally and figuratively. Yeah, Vernon, I don't disagree with that, and it's not just poor people. I think I always say kind of like some middle class folks are kind of also gatekeepers for the rich, because one of the things I say is neither political party, in my opinion, really speaks to poor people. Republicans don't do it. Democrats don't do a great job. Like if you listen to most of their messages, they mostly talk about middle class, right? Working class people, whatever that means to them. But there's very little attention given or paid to poor people, right? What is it? Bishop Barber always talks about this, and his Poor People's Campaign, and he's forever out there trying to get political candidates, particularly Democratic candidates, to take an interest in, the poor. But, politically, I guess maybe because poor people don't vote. I don't know what the statistics are on that in terms of income and votes, but there's very little attention that I see anyway, given to poor folks.
Radio 1 or any of its subsidiary companies.
Did you miss something? Catch the rebroadcast. Do it again. For the full schedule, go to thebuzzcincy.com.
.30 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you here until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And man, I'm always amazed just how quickly the time flies. We have blown through almost this first hour of the show. But that means we've had some good conversations, some good topics going on. We're going to go straight to the phones and talk to T. T, how you feeling this morning?
Hey, how you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good.
Hey, look here. You got this question, what are the Americans doing for the black people?
Mm-hmm.
It's really, this country is fantastic.
Okay.
I love it, and that goes for any other country all over the planet. The problem is, it's the policy writers and the policy makers. Those are the people that are starting the problem. The country is nothing wrong. The country ain't doing nothing. It's not making us fail or anything. It's the people who make the policies and the lawmakers. Those are the problem. And another thing, you was talking about jobs going overseas. I want to know, do those jobs, do they put into our Social Security, or would you know that?
Well, the workers probably wouldn't. I mean, the workers...
I mean, if they said the companies send other jobs overseas, do they put into our Social Security?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that most of those factories that they put overseas are mostly employed by the people who live there, who would be citizens of that country, whether that would be China, Taiwan, wherever. Yeah. So I don't think any of that money would be coming back from those employees would be coming back into the U.S. Social Security system.
Yeah, I didn't think so, and that's a problem. They all these companies talking about they're patriotic and love this country, but when they send their jobs overseas to other countries, they don't put into our Social Security. I think that's a problem.
Okay, all right.
Because we we talking about our Social Security going to run out at such and such a date, 32 or something like that, and the reason why is because the jobs that they send overseas are not putting in our Social Security. We're putting it in here in our country, but we're not doing it overseas. And I think that's a problem. Like I said, it's the policy writers and the companies that really don't care about us. They really don't. Not really. They used to. You usually was able to work 30 years at a company. You can't do that now.
No, sir.
So it's a company, like you said, greed. They don't care. And that's a problem. And about Donald Duck himself, man, he's the devil. That's all he is the devil. And then the people in office let him get away with it. If that was me and you, we're being under the jail.
T, you would have never got the opportunity to get in there if you had been anything like that. I think that that's really the thing that just irks me the most when I think about Donald Trump is I always say this is just how good it is for you to be a white male in this country, is that you can be somebody like him. Who is totally.
And they're the ones that write the laws.
Yeah.
Every book in the library is written by a white guy. I guarantee you. Majority of them anyway.
Yeah.
And we got to learn from that, whatever they put in the books, like in high school. The only reason why you get your diploma is you done went along with the program. And they program you to think that way, and then you get your diploma. But when you get out here in the real world, it's completely different.
Yes, sir. All right, T. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
You take care.
All right. Yeah, T is right. The days of being able to work at a company for 30, 40 years, they give you that watch when you retire and all of that kind of stuff. He's right. There was a different feeling among corporations and how they regarded employees. There was more loyalty, I think, back in the day than there is today. And I think most of us who are out in that corporate workforce, you just wonder if you make it to retirement. Like I like to joke, when I talk about, my position, I say, I work on a series of 1-year contracts. It's like because you don't know, when you work in volatile industries and things change, and it ain't always about how many years of service and loyalty you've had. At the end of the day, when they got to meet that portfolio investment, right? When them greedy millionaires and billionaires say, hey, my return ain't looking right, we're going to have to find some ways to make some cuts to make these numbers look right. They come looking for you, right? Like that's how it operates these days. It's sad. And that's why I always say, you got to if you out there in these corporate streets, you got to make moves that are the best moves for you and your family. Because, as much as we would love to believe and hope and wish that loyalty was what it was back in the day, it is not like that anymore. All right, let's go to Pharaoh real quick before we go to break. Pharaoh, what's on your mind?
Yes, Kevin, I heard you speaking about the weekend being a festive time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever read Frederick Douglass' speech on the 4th of July and what it means to African people?
I don't believe I have read that speech, Pharaoh. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've read that.
I would advise you to, and every other African person, to read it. Because I'll tell you what it says in essence. He talks about slavery and how whites celebrate the 4th of July and how it's nothing but a hypocritic holiday because it means nothing to African people. Because we were in slavery and basically we are still in psychological slavery. So why are we celebrating something that has no bearing on our independence, on our anything? Why are we barbecuing and celebrating something that has nothing to do with our history, our culture, or us as a people? Now explain that to me.
Oh well, Pharaoh, I'm not here to.
I mean, give me your perspective, because I heard you telling people about, the festive holiday and this, that, and the other.
Well, I said it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in this country, and I acknowledge that.
Will you be celebrating the 4th of July Saturday?
Well, it depends on what you say by celebrate. I mean,
well, I'm speaking about, have you going out to spend money celebrating, or you barbecuing?
Typically what I do is our family gets together on the 4th of July, and we cook out and we get together, and there may be some fireworks and things of that nature that we do.
My question is this: why you can't do that today or tomorrow?
Well, a lot of people do.
Why you can't do it Sunday or Monday?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Why do you have to do it when whites tell you this is the day to do it?
Well, I think a part of that, though, Pharaoh, is, like it or not, if you live in this country, you're a citizen of this country, and part of
anyway.
Yeah, and part of
that way.
Yeah, and part of being a citizen and being a part of this country is you partake of the rituals and the traditions and things of that nature that are part of the country.
No. That's a lie. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you an example of that. When you say, Lincoln always says, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about that. When the European came into Africa, he was outnumbered 20-1 by Africans. So did he take that position? Well, in Rome, do as the Romans do. I have to do what these Africans are doing. No. He felt he was superior. He colonized the countries, and he made them adapt to how he felt, the Europeans' way. So that whole concept of being in the country and being an alleged citizen, we are nothing but legalized aliens in this country. This is why we suffer the racism, the oppression, the depression, and everything else. Because we are legal aliens. You're not a citizen, because if you were a citizen, we wouldn't suffer the racism and nothing else we deal with in this country. But because you are a legal alien, they call you a citizen. This is why we suffer what we suffer from. So to identify with the 4th of July is crazy for our people. You know what I'll be eating on 4th of July?
What's that, Pharaoh?
I'll be eating lima beans with beef neck bones and cornbread. That's what I'll be eating. Sitting in my house, keeping my money in my pocket, and not buying into these European holidays that has no reference to our history, culture, or us as a people.
All right.
So I advise every other African person, read Frederick Douglass's speech on the 4th of July and its relevance to African people, and keep your money in your pocket and let that European have his pagan holidays that has no reference to you.
All right, Pharaoh, I appreciate you, brother. I kind of want to get me some of them, what was it, lima beans and neck bones, he said, and cornbread. Pharaoh, call back and give Terrence your address so I can come over there, and you'll help me keep my money in my pocket this weekend by letting me go by that. All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we got more callers hanging on hold. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock.
1230 AM, WDBZ, Cincinnati, an Urban One station. Listen online on thebuzzcincy.com. We are 1230 The Buzz, the home of the Lincoln Ware Show.
Bond is being set at $1 million for a Dearborn County, Indiana man accused of having sex with underage girls. 21-year-old Braden Phillips faces charges that include child molesting and sexual misconduct with a minor. The case against Phillips reportedly involves two victims, ages 13 and 15. He is being held in the Dearborn County Jail. Cincinnati-based Kroger is purchasing Giant Eagle. The grocery chains announced on Wednesday that Kroger is acquiring Pennsylvania-headquartered Giant Eagle as part of a $1.65 billion deal. Giant Eagle stores will continue to operate under the name Giant Eagle. A spokesperson for Kroger says there are no plans to close any of the stores or eliminate any jobs with the acquisition. The Reds will try to avoid a 4-game series sweep when they take on the Brewers today in Milwaukee. Cincinnati lost to the Brewers 4-2 last night. First pitch today is at 2:10. And authorities are not pursuing charges against a person who fatally shot a man Tuesday in Walnut Hills. I'm Heather Pasco on 1230 The Buzz.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
You're listening to The Lincoln Ware Show.
Unbelievable.
On your talk and information station, 1230 The Buzz.
.30 WDBZ, your talk station, the buzz of Cincinnati. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge sitting in for Lincoln Ware today until 1 o'clock, and we have been talking about America's 250th anniversary, the 4th of July weekend coming up. Will you be celebrating? Will you not be celebrating? Do you even feel like you're in a festive mood? For Black Americans, do you love the country and do you feel like the country loves you back? That's what we're talking about here today. Now, before we went to break, Pharaoh came on and he basically said he can't understand why any black person is celebrating the 4th of July in this country. And, you know, I think one of the great things about this country is that you can have that attitude if you if you believe what Pharaoh says. Like, that's one of the freedom that you have. Nobody is holding a gun to your head saying that you have to celebrate or threatening to throw you in jail if you don't fly the flag and show patriotism. Because in some places, you say what Pharaoh said over the airwaves, there's some soldiers waiting for you outside your door. And they're going to take you somewhere. But that's one of the things that you have to say that, like it or not, is great about this country. And like I said, I get it. There's a complex history, very complex. The way that we were brought over, our ancestors were brought over here. The way many of the documents, our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence and all of these great documents that we revere as a country were not written with us in mind. You know, I say all the time that America, the America that our great historical documents say that it wants to be, has always had difficulty with the people who live here living up to that. The people of this country have never been as good as the ideals they proclaimed. Because how can you write life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, everybody being endowed with certain inalienable rights by the Creator? Remember, they're invoking God, and these are the same people who are murdering and enslaving groups of people that they treat as property and don't even consider as human. So when Pharaoh talks about the hypocrisy, absolutely. Because the ideals that are espoused in those great historical documents, America has had a very hard time throughout its 250-year history of living up to that, living up to those ideals. And that's why we live by this idea of striving to be a more perfect union. And this is where I think a lot of the conversation today gets misconstrued. And how when a lot of times white folks have an issue when black folks raise these things, these issues is they have a sense that America is already great. And I guess if you're coming from a certain perspective, you can have that. But you got to understand, recognize, respect that the perspective of a black American in this country is very different. And that the promise of this country was denied to us for most of our time here. And, you know, we can make arguments about whether or not that's even been delivered on in these days. So I think what's aggravating and what's frustrating is that sense of, hey, just get over it. Just move past it. We love to move past it. But y'all ain't moving past it. If y'all ain't moving past it, how you expect us to move past it? Moving past it is not talking about it. Right? Like I heard, you know, Morgan Freeman, you know, famously likes to say, hey, racism will go away if we didn't just talk about it. And Morgan Freeman is such a smart, talented dude that is frustrating for me to hear him say something like that. Since when is not talking about a problem ever made the problem go away? If you ever had anybody in your family that's ever been addicted to a substance, alcohol, drugs, or anything, just don't talk about it. They'll get better. Just leave them alone. If you just don't talk about it, they'll put the crack pipe down. Come on, man. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Ray, what's on your mind?
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, man, I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Before I get to Trump, let me say this about Pharaoh. Him and his lima beans and his cornbread and whatever it is he's going to eat this holiday, unless he's a farmer, he's going to go to Walmart, he's going to go to Kroger and buy these things, and the CEOs of where he's going to get these things probably donated to Trump's campaign. And so if you ask Pharaoh, do you love this country? If he says no, he has every opportunity to leave it. But he's not going anywhere. Now, when it comes to Trump, you know what gets me, Kevin, is everybody blames Trump. Trump is this one guy. Mm-hmm. He puts his pants on one leg at a time like every other man.
Right.
The people you should be upset with is Congress, the Senate, who allows him to have this power, the House, you know, these Supreme Court judges, people like Too Sweet, Twin, LG, Sean, Ron D., Ponytail Wells, they all voted for this guy to do what he's doing. So people, you can't blame a man that will probably, a lot of other people, even black folks, would do, if they can get away with it, would make their billions the way Trump is doing. You know, now some may have a conscience and decide, no, this is not right for the American country. You know, but they would do the same damn thing. So, you know, Trump is just a man. But everybody who put him in power, and that goes along with these college kids. And I can't for the life of me think Biden had a loan forgiveness to wipe out these loans. And these college kids who have these loans decided to vote for Trump. Now, that's a head-scratcher. You know, when it comes to these billionaires, you know, I guess they must have seen the movie Wall Street when Gordon Gekko said greed is good because they're taking it to heart. You know, they had this spectacle on the White House, this MMA or whatever it was, right? And so was that a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching Nicole Wallace, and she said that a lot of these sponsors, with what that wrestler said about Michelle Obama, and none of these sponsors said anything about it. And one of these sponsors was Budweiser, which I've been drinking for years. I decided never, ever again to drink a Budweiser. Folks, and my little $5 or $6 or $7 a bottle, you know, that I get when I go out, it may not mean much, but that $6 or $7 less of what a Budweiser would get from their profits. And if everybody thought that way, maybe they would change their tune.
Well, they do, Ray. You remember, what was it? This is maybe a year or two ago now, but I think it was Bud Light. It was one of these beer companies. They did a commercial that had a transgender, I think it was a transgender or LGBTQ celebrity who did the commercial. And you remember like Kid Rock and all of them people, they started saying, we never gonna drink this beer again. And they were shooting guns at the beer cans, cases of the beer, and protesting, all because, not because of anything negative like what this wrestler said about Michelle, or this MMA guy said about Michelle Obama. Nothing as offensive as that, but just merely by the fact that you had this individual portrayed in a commercial, that was enough for them to boycott, to say they wasn't going to drink. And I said the same thing, like, these companies ain't going to do nothing if you don't put pressure on them. And so everybody who was upset with the sponsors who didn't say anything, you got to make them say that by, like what you were saying, Ray, by withholding your dollars, going after it, making a big deal out of it. People always used to get on Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton because that's what they did. They used to call them race hustlers and money people, but they would go after these big corporations in these places and make them pay attention to the negative things that were being said and done, that they were putting they were associating their products with. And you're 100% right. You not drinking that, you're right, may not mean anything to the bottom line, but there are a whole lot of black folks, who drink Bud Light or whatever, who need to make it known that, hey, if this is the type of stuff you're going to support, we're not going to support you.
Yeah, look what happened at Target.
Mm-hmm.
There was a strike or protest against Target. And they changed some of their ways. They lost a lot of money.
Right.
So people find out who these sponsors are, put it out on talk radio, and just don't buy it. And one last thing on these Trump supporters, you call them poor whites, and I'm saying you did, but you mentioned poor whites, and a lot of these Trump MAGA supporters, they're uneducated, they're ignorant. They're lower class, and they're getting the short end of the stick. But the hatred of black folks supersedes that. They don't care. They really don't care. And so, folks, like I said before, don't blame Trump. Blame the people that put him in there. Get on the two sweets, the twins, the Ron D's, the LGs, the Seans. They're just misguided. And Too Sweet, the only thing he has to say about the good thing about Trump is the stock. You really? Because you made a few dollars, on your stocks. That's enough to keep this guy in office for you to vote for him.
Ray,
that's ridiculous.
Ray, and most of the people who voted for him ain't even got stocks, bro. That's just the reality of what it is. People like to toss that out there, and if you ask them what stocks they own, what's in their portfolio, they couldn't tell you because a lot of them ain't got it. And that bears out that most people in this country are not in the stock market. They're not involved in that.
You know what, Kevin? Lincoln's bookie asked Too Sweet earlier in the week, what kind of stocks you got? You know what he said?
What?
None of your business. That's the only thing he had to say. None of your business. Come on, Too Sweet. You better than that. All right,
Ray. Appreciate you, bro. Have a good one. All right, we're going to take a quick break at 1 o'clock, 12:30 WDBZ.
Lincoln Ware is on demand. On demand. That's right. Listen to the Lincoln.
But I don't know. That just seemed like an old LeBron, Draymond Green, Steph Curry. That seemed like that would have been popping 5 seasons ago. But now, I don't know, Trev. Man, that just sounds like an old threesome. That reminds me of when they got, what was it? Didn't the Lakers, who did that? The Lakers tried to do that. They got Gary Payton, Karl Malone, and another old brother who was trying to get a championship before they got out. And it just, they won some games. I think they made it to the finals, but, I don't know about that. I think LeBron should go to the Knicks. Go play in Madison Square Garden. That'd be a good look for him. Will A. Smith says, the employers don't care about their employees. That's when I got hurt at my job. All they were trying to do was make sure they didn't have to pay me as little as possible. I was really hurt. Yeah. Yeah, bro. I hate that for you. It was pinto beans. Was it pinto beans or lima beans? Pinto beans, beef neck bones, and cornbread. I
thought he said lima beans.
I thought he said lima beans too, but my man Nat Turner was running down the menu. Ray, I got to give it to Ray. Ray made a good point because Pharaoh said he wasn't going to spend no money this weekend, but he did. He went out and supported that corporate interest when he went out and got that. That's good. That's good. Some of these people, they be thinking on their feet. I didn't think about that to hit Pharaoh with that, asking where he got his neck bones from. Hey, man, some of these people, they be sharp, bro. They sharp. Chocolate Girl Wonder said, isn't that the same meal you had for Thanksgiving? Hey, maybe that's the go-to meal. Walter Bradley says, Pharaoh speaks the truth.
Hey, depending on who's cooking it, man, those neck bones and lima beans, they hit pretty good, man.
Ain't that
always mix them with the cornbread mixed together? It hits pretty good.
Ain't that always the way it is though? Yeah. Depending on who cooking it, right? Like you want to know, hey, who made what?
Yeah.
Twin said, are you boycotting Jay-Z music since he partnering with Target? Yeah, that was kind of a thing. There were some people who was upset with Jay-Z about that.
$6 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
The voice of the community. We are 1230 AM The Buzz, your talk station.
.1230 WDBZ, The Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station, the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock. And I hope you staying cool. It's getting hot out there. I mean, it was already hot, but it's getting hotter. Want to make sure you're staying hydrated. Keep that fan on. Hopefully you maybe got a little AC going on too, because sometimes when it get hot like that, that fan don't do nothing but just blow that hot air around the room. So hopefully you got someplace nice and cool where you can hunker down until you gotta go out. but definitely be safe out there.
I got a feeling, Mr. Aldridge, that it's going to be a lot of blackouts happening over the weekend. I hate to say it, but it's going to be a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when it gets hot like this, it's almost inevitable that that's going to happen. You know, the thing that always tends to happen to me around this time when it starts to get hot, like that's when your AC unit, goes out. So we always try to get ours checked before the weather comes or the weather changes, because it never fails when you don't do that. As soon as it gets hot, that's when something goes wrong with the air conditioning, and then these air conditioning people can't get to it. Be like 2 weeks before they can get out to your house to help you. So yeah, a couple of things real quick that Ray said when he was talking about Trump being just one man, and that is absolutely true. But he is one man who wields a tremendous amount of power. And he's able to wield that power primarily, not because, you could look at Congress and you can blame Congress. And I agree that there are a lot of spineless, go along, rubber stamping, people who are in Congress who are only going along with it because they're being held hostage by the primary voters, that they can't go against Trump. Because one thing Trump has displayed is that if you don't go along with his program, he's going to run somebody against you in the Republican primary. So where Ray is on point is that as much as you want to put all of this blame on Trump and on Congress, the fact of the matter is that the Republican primary voters are essentially the ones who are responsible for the state of things, if you dislike the state of things, because Trump wouldn't be able to hold that club over Congress, and you might get a little bit more resistance. You might get a little bit more independent thought if these politicians weren't so concerned about their own survival and not being primaried. But they know Trump has, somewhere 80% support among Republicans in the base. I mean, you're not going up against that if you're in Congress. That's a death sentence. And those who have either retired and left, or they've been bounced. Everybody else is falling in line. So I think Ray was right on point when he talks about, who you're looking at for the state of things is the voter, right? And those who put and continue to put the people that Trump says put in office. Those are the folks who are responsible. All right, let's see what's on Ron's mind. Ron, what's on your mind this morning?
What's up, Kevin? So, Ray listens to the Lincoln Ware show every day, and Ray knows that I ain't vote for him. And mind you, I supported him. I'm still supporting him, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, he put a whole generation of poor people potentially out of poverty. Now, he didn't trust them. He didn't trust them to save the money. He gave them Trump accounts. Okay. Now you can deposit that money into their accounts up to $5,000. Basically, when an 18-year or when an 18-year-old gets out and they can get out and establish a home, they can establish a business, they can establish anything they want when they get 18, or they can keep that money in there and keep flipping it. Now, you have to be honest about the situation, and that's what the problem is. Y'all, you just won't be honest about it. If you just be honest, and I told you a long time ago, and I told you, win me back. Win me back. I voted Democrat for 45 years. 45 years. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see a change. And
Ron, I can't. You know what, Ron? I can't let you do that because you get a lot you get a lot of black folks on here who switch to Republican and they talk about. And I just had to do this on a podcast the other day to talk about the day. But wait a minute, Ron. You talked about. I understand. Well, you're not a Republican, but you're saying you support Trump because he set up a tax advantage account for kids under 18. Okay, for kids under 18, where they put $1,000. That ain't even happened yet.
For newborn children. For newborn children and children, I think 13 to 1300. Now go ahead.
Yeah, so that's one thing, and I'm not going to diminish.
I don't want to. That's just the point. That's just a starting point. You know, you. But your statement
that you've been. Your statement.
Win me back. Tell me why I should vote for the Democratic Party right now. Tell me why.
Well, that's not my job to tell you why you should vote for the Democratic Party.
Because I'm a Republican and I support Trump and I support other people that Trump support. Tell me why I should vote for Democrats. Tell me why. Because I want to. I'll say it. $3 billion and now.
Okay.
I said $3 billion and now.
All right, Ron. I'm gonna let you go, and I want you to listen. I want you to listen on what I'm going to tell you. So, see, this is what I hate about what we do sometimes. Is if you're gonna speak that stuff, then speak on some facts. And I say this all the time. If you're gonna talk politics, do your research and understand your facts. So I'll say this. I've always said this. If you're black in this country, within recent history, we're not going back to the Emancipation Proclamation and Reconstruction and all of that. We're talking about basically since 1980. Okay, let's just start there. We'll start in the majority of my lifetime. There's no question that Democrats have done more for black folks than Republicans have politically. That's not even a question. Now, I get if you're black and you say, hey, we haven't made all of the progress that I would like for us to have made. I wouldn't disagree with that. There's still a lot of things that when I was a little boy, black folks were talking about, we still talking about today. But there are a lot of things that we were talking about when I was a little boy that black folks are no longer talking about. So we need to stop this whole BS thing like, oh, what is the Democrats done for black when there ain't been no change, ain't this, that, and the other. That's just an unintelligent thing to say. So stop saying it. The second thing is that you can't point to many things. I'm not going to say any, and to say, oh, because the people who have done stuff for me they haven't done as much as I want. That's a reason for me to switch over to somebody who's done even less than them. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. So somebody who has very little track record of policy that addresses your concerns, you're going to go vote for that because the people who are doing stuff for you, maybe not as much as you want, but at least they're making an effort. You're going to leave that and go to somebody who has very little of your interests at heart. Make that make sense to me. You want to point to an account that Donald Trump set up where the government gives you $1,000 into an account that you then have to continue to invest in yourself as parents to get anything out of it. I'm not belittling $1,000 seed money from the government. Good thing. I'm not going to diss that. But then you'll ignore programs that came under Democrats like Barack Obama that gave black business entrepreneurs $20,000 And I could go down a litany of other things, of other policies. We're not even getting into, police reform issues. We could just stick with economic and educational stuff that have been done. So we need to get off this stuff about, the Democrats ain't done nothing and there ain't been no progress. Just stop saying that, because that's just not, it's not true, and it doesn't sound smart. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the phone lines are lit up. We're going to hear what you have to say. We got Shelby, Marquetta, Al, all on hold. We're going to get to you when we come back. The Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock.
1230 The Buzz wants you to buy Black 513. Black Americans have over $1 trillion in spending.
So, Ron, I see you in the comments. Make your list, brother. Make your list of what Trump has done. And I'm not talking about entrepreneurs. I'm talking about specifically black folks. Yeah, Trump might have done some stuff from entrepreneurs, but how much of that money did you get? Did somebody who looks like you, how much of that did they get? Because ain't that what you voting for? I assume when you talk about you ain't seen no progress, you talking about progress for black folks. So I ain't talking about what's been done for generic entrepreneurs. I'm talking about specific programs and policies that Trump, or not just Trump, George W. Bush, any of them have done that have advanced your people. Because I assume that that's what you voting on. Where Baldwin, where do the Kings play at? Last year we played at Withrow High School, and we'll probably be re-engaging them soon about trying to get back there. We were at Cincinnati State for a number of years, but last year we moved to Withrow. Darnell, Kevin, do you need me to bring you down some Crown Royal since Mr. Ware took his? You still have an hour and a half. No, sir. No, sir. I'm high. I'm tipsy off of y'all, man. Off the callers, off the comments that keep me energized. I love the conversation. Ron, I had to hang up on you because we was talking over each other. So I was trying to let you talk and not talk over you. And so I let you get out what you had to get out. And then, yeah.
To learn more, a message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
1230 The Buzz, streaming live on your computer. Log on to thebuzzcincy.com.
.30 WDBZ, the Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge sitting in for Lincoln Ware today until 1 o'clock, and we're about halfway through the show. And we're about to go down to the Dukester and find out if that is where Pharaoh got his neck bones, cornbread, and lima beans. Dukester, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, Kevin. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, brother. What we got on the menu today?
Well, first of all, I heard you talking about how hot it is, and I know that to be true because on my way in this morning, I saw 3 beagle hounds tasting a rabbit, and make it so odd, all 4 of them was walking. So it must be hot. And I want to send out a special shout-out to the birthday girl, Tamika Ware, who's celebrating her birthday today. Hope she's keeping cool along with the rest of us. And I want to make sure, I'm sure you've heard me talking about the Deuce's Social Night every Friday from 7 to 11 p.m. And if you haven't been out playing a friendly game of cards, chess, checkers, even dominoes, while listening to some of the best old-school music and being around people of your own age, you might want to stop by tomorrow night. It's free. It's BYOB. Food will be available. So come on by and hang out a bit. Now, if you don't feel like cooking today, you can stop by the Duke's and try a Big Duke burger platter. Just load it down with everything a burger should have, with freshly cooked onion rings and coleslaw. Or check out our smothered pork chops with fried cabbage and candied yam. Now, today, I'm having a rotisserie chicken, a cornbread, dressing and gravy, and potato salad. But my pick for today is our golden salmon croquette, macaroni and cheese, and fried apples. Hope today is a good day for everybody. We'll talk to you later, Kevin.
All right. I appreciate it. Man, what a menu. Them salmon croquettes sounded good. That's right up my alley. Head on down to the Dukester and get you something good to eat. And also check out that social night. That sounded pretty interesting. You know, it was interesting, Terrence, that the Dukester said you can come hang with people of your age, but he didn't say what age that was. I was going to ask that question, but I said, nah, let me just leave it alone. All right, we're going to go back to the phones, and Shelby's been waiting on for a little bit. So, Shelby, what's on your mind?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man? I'm 12 hours away from the United States. I'm in Beijing, China right now.
Oh, man, wow. What took you out there?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just visiting on vacation here. I flew into Shanghai. We drove to Wuhan, then Chongqing, then Xi'an. Then we drove from Xi'an to Beijing. I'm in Beijing right now.
Okay.
But I was having a conversation with a few people in the chat, and all I could hear, and primarily I heard from you, I heard a lot of crying, Kevin. Mm-hmm. I heard a lot of excuses. I heard a lot of that kind of mindset. Now,
give me an example, Shelby.
I just want to state this for the record that I was valedictorian of my high school class, so that means at least I studied a little bit. I got a bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering, a master's degree in computer science, and a PhD in computer engineering. And I worked at the university for 29 years. I'm retired now. I'm a visiting scholar at Case Western University right there in Cleveland. It's close to you in Ohio. And I'm also as a guest lecturer for another college, the university where I grew up in. Now, Kevin, I'm not for everybody, Kevin. I'm not for everybody. So some of the people that are looking for solutions from me, when I tell you got to get up early, you got to work harder, you got to stay up later, some people are not with that program, Kevin, so I cannot speak to them. Mm-hmm. So they may have to get solutions from other people and not from me, because I look at people that work hard. And you know why I came to China?
Why is that?
Because the people over here, when you make excuses over here, you're going to be out of a job and you're going to be homeless. The people over here work for what they want. Primarily, Kevin, all of my graduate teachers were from India and from China, the most populated countries on the planet. And when you come in here, you're competing against everyone else. So, Kevin, look. Let me just cut to the chase and make it simple. Whatever you want in life, if you get out and work for it, there are good people all around this planet. They will help you get what you want, but you have to put the initiative and the hard work and don't complain. That's the solution. Now, some of the people I'm going to go back to the chat. Some of the people in the chat are going to say, oh, you didn't give us any. Then look for solutions for someone else. I just gave you would work for me. If it doesn't work for you, fine. Go to somewhere else and do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I just want to state one more thing, Kevin.
Okay, go ahead.
If you've made up your mind to do something in life, no one can stop you. Secondly, if you have made up your mind not to do something in life, no one can help you. It's as simple as that.
All right. Thank you, Shelby.
And Kevin, no more excuses. Can we go through the program with no more excuses tonight?
Yeah, no, I don't know what excuses that you're talking about, Shelby. I asked you for an example of what you were referencing as far as an excuse.
You said we couldn't do this because of that. We couldn't do this because of that.
Well, you got to tell me specifically what I said so that I can address it.
Man, I've been on the hold for 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, man. Well, listen, yes, sir. Safe travels.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say. I appreciate Shelby. I appreciate that perspective, and I don't know that I disagree with a lot of what he says about work ethic and getting education and putting forth all of that. But here's the problem that I have about when people like when Shelby and others say things like complaining or excuses. If I bring up incidents and things that are legitimate, whether it's policy, whether it's racism, whether it's whatever, those are not excuses. See, I hate that mentality that if I call something out that is unfair against ethics and morality, that's complaining, that's excuse making. And the other thing that I would say is, and I want to flip it, like this always gets thrown on black people when we do it. But let's not forget that there are a whole lot of white folks out here in this country. This is why they came out of the woodwork, and these are the folks who voted for Donald Trump. You know why? Because there were a lot of white Americans who feel like they were sold a bill of goods about the American dream. They worked hard, they did all of the right things, and it still wasn't breaking for them. And their response to that was to elect Donald Trump, who, quite frankly, still hasn't done anything for them. But they rose up and they say, hey, we're going to elect this guy because we've been doing the right things. We've been working hard, but America, we're still getting the shaft. So, Shelby, this notion that everybody who works hard and does the right things becomes successful just isn't true. That's the bill of goods that they sell you in this country. But I'm here to tell you that it ain't working for a whole lot of people. And it ain't just black people that do it. But black people are the only one who get hit with complaining, crying, and excuses when we bring it up. Nobody is saying anything to all of those Trump supporters or MAGA people who say the exact same thing. They just say it differently. They're complaining about, but you know who they're complaining about? They're complaining about immigrants. They're complaining about black people. They're complaining about the border. They're complaining about all of these things that they're saying are the reasons why they can't get a job. But nobody is saying to those white folks, stop complaining, stop making excuses. But we don't have a problem saying that to black people because we're not allowed to say anything. And I also feel you on this, Shelby, that there are some people who don't want to work. Just like you got the 1% of rich people and wealthy people, you got the 1% of people who don't want to work, who are criminals, who are doing that. But there are a whole lot of people in between those two 1%. A whole lot of people who are struggling, who are trying to do the right things, who want to take care of their kids, who want to educate, but they can't do it. Because of the economic factors that are a part of it. And when you're a minority, whether that's a black person, a gay person, a woman, or whatever, you got to deal with the BS that goes along with that. And the angering part about it is we want to pretend like that doesn't exist and you just need to suck it up and move on without saying anything. And that's garbage. So yeah, Shelby, I was blessed. I had two hardworking parents in my household. I went to school. I went to college. I got a good job. I did, quote unquote, all of the right things, and it worked out for me. But you know what? There are a lot of people who were in the same spot that I did that it didn't work out for them through no fault of their own. They weren't able to get a job in their field when they graduated from college. So I think, you know, it's just frustrating to me because we get into these, we just have no nuance. We have no compassion, no sensitivity. We just get into these spaces, and because we want to be right or because it worked for you, that's your experience. I'm glad you in Beijing. I'm glad you living your best life out there. But there are a lot of people that can't get out of Avondale, and not because they don't want to. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we got more people on hold waiting to get their comments in. This is the Lincoln Ware Show, 1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati.
Every weekday, 1230 The Buzz has you covered. Let's go! With new entertainment.
Shelby says, Kevin, we would just have to disagree. I'm in a different place with a different mindset. Nah, Shelby, I don't have a problem with your mindset, brother. Your mindset, if that works for you, let that work for you. But I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying, is that this notion of complaining and excuses, sometimes the things you call excuses are sometimes reasons. And there's this notion of fairness and equality, and you can't present this as being a country where everybody's got equal opportunity when equal opportunity doesn't exist. And if equal opportunity doesn't exist, we all have a right to fight for that, and not just say, oh, because I have to work twice as hard as somebody else to get half as much, like that's cool. No, it's not. That's not complaining. It's the same mentality that we have when a little kid is riding a bike and they fall off their bike, right, and skin up their knee, cut themselves. And what's the first thing they usually say, Terrence, when kids start crying? Especially if it's a little boy. Stop that crying. You're going to be all right. Suck it up. Don't be no punk. That's bull. That hurt. When you fell off that bike and you cut yourself, that hurt. I should be allowed to say that hurt. I should be allowed to say, hey, man, get me a Band-Aid, clean up this cut, do something, help me do something to get myself right. Like, that's not, that it's ridiculous that that's looked at as complaining. And I use that as a illustrative example of, there have been other areas where people in this country have been hurt and injured, whether that's through government policy, racism, sexism, whatever, that if I've been hurt by that, to expect me to just suck it up and keep moving forward. Yeah, some people might have that mindset where they like, and in fact, we really have as a people throughout most of our history had to push forward in spite of all of that anyway and make the best out of it. We're tremendously resilient. But I just completely reject this notion of like, because I say something about the wrongs being inflicted on me, that's an excuse. You tripping me up, you hold me back. but that's an excuse if I say something about it. Now, if I'm not trying, okay, you might be able to say, I don't believe in obstacles and hurdles being a reason to tap out. I don't agree with that. But I also don't agree that as you're trying to make it, calling out those things are not complaints or excuses. I think if you're a person of conscience and compassion, those are the things that you should be fighting for.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
1230 The Buzz, WDBZ, a Radio One station.
.1230 WDBZ, the Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you for about another hour. Man, time is flying by. That means we're having some pretty good conversations. We had some good callers today, some people who have had some different perspectives, and I respect that. You know, that's part of what I do at the Inquirer. I deal with different perspectives all day as the opinion editor. And as we debate these issues, I was just talking to Shelby in the chat who had called in earlier, and he was saying he has just a different mindset. And that's cool. I'm not here to diss anybody for whatever mindset. If that works for you, that works for you. That's great. You know, and we can all listen to that perspective and take from it what we will. But the reality is that the way Shelby thinks don't work for everybody. Right. And so part of the reason why we have these conversations and perspectives is everybody's got to figure out what works for them. All right. Marquetta's been waiting patiently on hold. Marquetta.
Hey, I got to know, brother. I have to know right now.
Yes.
B2K or Pretty Ricky?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Pretty Ricky.
Okay, what about the new Mortal Kombat versus the new He-Man?
I was unimpressed with both, but I'm gonna go with the new He-Man because that was more what I grew up with as a kid than the Mortal Kombat. So I'm gonna go with that. But both movies I didn't think were very good.
You know, they put $300 million in the He-Man, and that's what they gave us.
Yeah, that you would think that they could do better with all of that money.
I love seeing Idris Elba as Man at Arms, though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He was the best part of that movie. I mean, really, honestly, Idris Elba's character and how he represented, I thought. But yet,
Hollywood baby win.
Yep, Hollywood is struggling right now, though. Hollywood, they not putting out a ton of good stuff lately.
Well, I mean, they have the same problem that box stores have. You have Amazon. You have small distribution like Tubi. You have YouTube TV. You know, people make their own content. Look at AB resurrected his career through streaming on Twitch. You know, I had to call in to you, brother, what you think about the Southern Baptist Convention, not the black one, the white one, kicking the women out.
You know, I mean... So I haven't kept up with all of the details around that, but they basically what along the lines of what women don't have a place.
So biblically, they saying that the Bible says the woman is not to have a place as a pastor, or she's not to even really be in the church. According to the Bible, from their perspective, the woman is to wait till her man get home, and the husband is to counsel her in the way of the Bible and the way of religion. But that's their thing. That's what they, kind of setting up. Have you had the opportunity to read the Democratic National Convention's autopsy?
I have not.
Brother, y'all have got to read that because you're still doing exactly what they're saying. So I'm a third-party voter. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, I vote Democratic down ballot. When it comes to presidential elections, I'm with everybody else. Israel should not be in control of our politicians, and we don't have it. For me, as a black American, I celebrate the 4th of July. One, is my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy birthday.
2, Benjamin Banneker Crispus Attucks, before this country was established, they was here. Whether they was free or enslaved or whatever, we had a presence in America. We can't erase our pre-colonial existence in America by ignoring the 4th of July. So I've always celebrated, and so has my family. When you read the DNC autopsy, they point to the fact that you're ignoring voters. You talk to voters like I'm going to read from page 28. It's 192 pages. It's a rough draft. He said he really didn't even want to put it out, the head of the DNC. It says, young men of color, Harris's steepest losses. Harris saw dramatic drops in support among young Latino men and young black men compared to Biden's 2020 performance. However, Stein, now this is a third party, recovered significant ground with both groups, suggesting the campaign found effective ways to reach these voters. The Congressional Black Caucus offered the Harris campaign $10 million to do a voters outreach to urban and rural communities. They refused it. On top of that, I'm not comfortable with people keep on categorizing LGBTQIA plus rights with black civil rights struggles. They didn't go through what we went through. They have what equal opportunity work hindrances have gay people felt that black people, you understand? So there's no correlation to me there. Like Marsha P. and the Stonewall and all that, that has no correlation to the civil rights era. Right now, the Supreme Court of the United States had to come down and tell us boys are different from girls and they shouldn't be in the sports. Why would you champion that? That's like 1% of the population. Why would you put that to the forefront of your political platform while ignoring this litany of issues from black people? And then on top of that, when we talk about health care, we was begging Barack Obama during the Affordable Care Act drafting Medicare for all. He could have pushed for that. We still need Medicare for all, a single payer, one system. If you can't afford health insurance on the private market, when it gets to the Affordable Care Act, you probably can't afford it there either. You're driving premiums up. So people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, they're the emerging leaders of the Democratic Party. People want to primary everybody because they out and sold out to AIPAC. And when I hear you all talk, it's dangerous because people are dying. People are being killed out here. A man killed his daughter arguing about Trump and politics. It becomes so passionate. But we're not pushing back on the political party to make sure that they're addressing our needs and that when they ask for our vote, not only do we get representation, but we also get our needs met. And it's like if we say something against the Democrats, you MAGA. But it's been, even with this 14th Amendment, I stand with Justice Thomas and Supreme Court Justice Alito and they dissent. You've been invaded. You up here blowing up everybody around the world, and then you bring them, for instance, the Haitians. Do you know the TPS, why they had TPS?
Yeah.
Why? Explain to the audience
why.
I
believe that most of the Haitians who are in this country came over as a result, I think, what was it, of the earthquake and the hurricane, and then there was
earthquake, right?
And then there's also the threats of criminality. And Marquette, I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds, and then we got to go take a break.
I'm gonna go ahead and hang up. The Clinton Foundation, Bush, and Obama told the Haitian people, we're going to gather $20 million and more to help y'all out of y'all earthquake situation, and kept the money. Haiti is still in the situation it's in today because of the United States political system. And until black people stand up and say, these are our desires, ain't nobody trying to vote for these. You can browbeat us 92% and 80%. You're browbeating our community, and we showed up to vote. Where's the browbeat for the Catholics? Where's the browbeat for the Jews and the Asians? Where's the browbeat for the Latinos who pushed Trump into office?
Oh, we got smoke for all of that.
WWF?
we got smoke for all that. Thanks for the call, Marquette. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to address a few things Marquette has said on the other side of the break, and then we got Al, who's been waiting on hold, Brent, Doug Springs, and Sly. We're going to get to all of you in the final hour of the Lincoln Ware Show, 1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati.
1230 AM, WDBZ, Cincinnati, an Urban One station. Listen online on thebuzzcincy.com. We are 1230 The Buzz, the home of the Lincoln Ware Show.
Charges are being filed against a man accused of attacking a prosecutor with the Ohio Attorney General's office Wednesday in downtown Cincinnati. 50-year-old Jermaine Johnson reportedly punched the woman near 9th and Sycamore Streets. He's expected to appear in court today on charges including assault. Cincinnati police are investigating a Wednesday afternoon shooting in Corryville. The incident happened at a location on Euclid Avenue. No arrests have been made, and there's been no word on the condition of the victim. Authorities are not pursuing charges against a person who fatally shot a man Tuesday in Walnut Hills. 47-year-old Gregory Taylor Tolliver was found wounded at a location on Kemper Lane, and he later died at a local hospital. The shooting followed what recorded video appears to show as a confrontation between Taylor Tolliver and the shooter. Police are calling the shooting justifiable homicide. Bond is set at $1 million for a Dearborn County, Indiana man accused of having sex with underage girls. 21-year-old Braden Phillips faces charges that include child molesting and sexual misconduct. I'm Heather Pasco on 1230 The Buzz.
You have an opinion. You've got something to say.
And that's the reason why we're here today.
1230 AM The Buzz, your talk station.
.30 WDBZ. The Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge sitting in with you for about another hour. And man, it's been hot today. Phone line's been lit up. We got a good conversation going on. And before we went into break, Marquetta said a lot of which I don't disagree with. I think when she says sort of like beating up on the black community versus other communities or politicians, I think they all get to smoke. And, you know, my particular position is not that you necessarily need to vote a certain way. I'm just saying make the vote make sense. And I don't disagree with what Marquetta says about getting politicians to address the issues that are important to us. But that means you got to be involved. That means you got to show up at these things. You got to hold these politicians accountable when there are community forums, when there are debates, when there are town hall forums. You got to show up and you got to make these candidates answer the questions, right? And then hold them accountable for what they do or what they don't do. But I think what has happened to us is that we become so tribal within our politics, because I agree with what Marquetta said, is that sometimes if you, and this happens to me when I get, believe it or not, I'm critical of Democrats on different things. And, you know, staunch Democrats and liberals will tear you up. And we got to get out of that habit of, because this is one of the things, if this irks you about people who support Trump, then it ought to also irk you about Democrats where there's no room for criticism, even if you voted for the people. I'm going to criticize you if I voted for you because, number one, I put my vote behind you. I put my name behind you. So I'm going to be the first one to tell you when you're not doing what I think you should be doing. Because I don't want to waste my vote. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to back the wrong horses. So I'm going to be critical. It might be critical in love, but you're going to hear about it. And I think what our polarized politics of today has done is we won't even call out our own people when we see they wrong. You know, we'll try to defend them or make excuses. Well, at least they ain't doing what Trump is doing, or at least they ain't doing what Biden is doing, and this, that. That's garbage. If you ain't getting the job done, then you catching the smoke. Anybody can get it, right? So I hear you on that, Marquetta. I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. One last thing, you brought up LGBTQ, not the same as civil rights. And I've heard that for as long as I've been in Cincinnati, when Stonewall was around. And I can remember, some of the things that were going on racially in the city at that time. There were people who had some issues with and who felt like, Stonewall was trying to attach themselves to what was going on with some of the racial things here in the city, and so that's been a conversation that's been going on for quite some time. But not being a part of that community, I can't speak to what job issues or what discrimination that community has faced. Folks from that community can speak about it better than I can. And I think just as we expect folks to respect our story about discrimination and what we see with racism, you got to believe them when they tell you what they're dealing with. You can't be like, oh, we want people to believe our story, but when people from the LGBTQ community talk about what they're experiencing, we don't want to give that attention. We don't want to give that voice, or we want to say that's different than the struggle that we're in. Look, discrimination is discrimination, and we should be against it, whether it's against black folks, LGBTQ people. Everybody should be getting an equal shot. All right, let's go to Al, who's been waiting on hold. Al, what's on your mind?
Respect, love, and blessings. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, just a quick question. As a minister, do you know who the black people are in the Bible?
Are you talking about like what tribe or what groups of people in the Bible who are considered to be black?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard various different accounts. What are you getting to, Al? We gonna get to the point. What do you want to say?
I was asking you because I didn't want to disrespect, your knowledge.
Yeah, no, just get to your point, brother. Just get to your point.
There's only two groups in the scriptures. There's the Jews and there's then the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. The Jews were the ones who believed in the Creator of all things and then lost their way. And then the Gentiles, who didn't believe in the Creator of all things, then believed in the Creator of all things, and then the Creator of all things blessed the Gentiles. And that's who we are serving today. We're serving the Gentiles, the Gentile nation. The Gentile nation is not a friend of the black community, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And since we've been here, we've been under this Deuteronomy law. When Christ came and gave his example, that's what we were supposed to be following as a people. There's no more Jews and there's no more Gentiles. As a people, as a collective people, we're supposed to be anointed beings. And by us not being anointed beings and not knowing how to communicate with one another as anointed beings, we have this confusion and this discord amongst ourselves. And every day and every year, we talk about the same thing. We talk about the very same thing, us not treating each other with the respect and the love that the Creator of all things has blessed us with.
Yeah.
Now, when we going into the politics of things, we as black people, we've been here for over 400 years. And that 400 years in captivity, we were supposed to change our mindset. We were supposed to change the mindset of how we were. Because everything that the white man is doing to us, we did to ourselves back in the beginning, in the scriptures. All of the Bible is about black folks treating other black folks in a bad way, not treating them as the Creator of all things has instructed us to do. So with this lesson that we're getting for these 400 years, some will make it and some won't. I'm not saying that I'm one of the ones that will make it. I'm not saying that I'm one of the ones that won't. But I'm mentioning this to us and our people because this is the battle that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with the battle of flesh and blood. We're dealing with spirits. We're dealing with principalities. And I'm not trying to preach. That's why I asked you, did you know who we were in the scriptures? Because some of the things that we're talking about and trying to be about, we're not even supposed to be about. Because the Creator is going to judge our oppressor. And if we, as black people are part of that oppression, we will get judged along with them.
All right, Al, I appreciate you, brother. I thank you for the call. Yeah, I mean, Al is talking about the basis of, I say this all the time. If we were adept at following the two greatest commandments, love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, everything else would take care of itself. And I think essentially, Al is that's what he's getting at, is that if all of us lived by what we are called to do, which is love God and love ourselves or love our neighbors, the political stuff that we talking about wouldn't be a lot of what we're talking about. All right, Brent, what is going on? Brent, what's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much. It's Associate Pastor Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing all right. All right. You started off the show with talking about the 250th anniversary and how folks are feeling towards America or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to that, but with a lot of, I see it as a lot of white people, they love America because of, and you can go down a litany of things that you learned in school about America with taxation without representation and, all the wars that were had and everything, and, even make it Texas, remember the Alamo. But a lot of black people love America or like America in spite of. In spite of the chattel slavery, in spite of Jim Crow, in spite of soldiers going over in World War I, World War II, and not get the benefits or the respect that a lot of them thought they were going to get, in being, they're showing that they were brave and would fight. So it's definitely a nuanced conversation to have about that, but that was pretty much it on that point. Number two, I think a lot of times people will, when they get on the Democrats and what the Democrats have done, what the Democrats have done, it's one of those nuanced conversations. You have to also look in that same vein, what has prevented the Democrats from doing things to help specifically the black community, which, if folks were to be honest, they know it's that damn Constitution and it's the Supreme Court that any time they have had any programs specifically target black folks, that's the first thing that Republicans have gone to, the first thing that they've gone in order to strike it down. Whether it's in the federal government or whether it's even in private businesses with the women-focused private equity group that was essentially had to get dismantled because they were targeting specifically black women, which make up less than 1%. So there is a consistent pushback, a consistent fight externally from Republicans and conservatives, and there is some internal pushback too with some Democrats because, being a racist doesn't have a particular party affiliation along with that. So it's, just to say, well, the Democrats ain't done nothing, and then you don't in turn also look like, well, what have the Republicans done just in this past year under the Trump administration? 4-star black generals, gone. Mm-hmm. Over 400,000 black women in federal jobs, gone. Over 300,000 black businesses, gone. And with the black businesses, that's a segue into partially what Shelby was talking about. He was talking about, well, his solution, stop making excuses, create a business. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's an oversimplification of it. And so I'm like, well, be more specific about that. And then that's when he, just like he did with you, he deflected. He didn't have any specifics. So if it was just that easy to get a job, just that easy to, and it's not easy to be valedictorian if he is a valedictorian. And all the other conferences that he did and all the different places in China that he claimed that he was and where he is now, that's easy talk. If you happen to be that exceptional person, that even above the talented 10th that W.E.B. Du Bois talked about, that's great. But don't allow your individual success blind you to the fact of the collective struggle that we have in this nation.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate it. I'm going to have to take a quick break. Good comments there by Brent. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we got Doug Springs, Sly, Mac, Twin, all waiting on hold. We're going to try to get to all of y'all before we wrap up here this afternoon. The Lincoln Ware Show, 1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Want to stay plugged in with 1230 The Buzz and get the inside scoop sent to you?
Let's see. D says, when people brag about their degrees, I think they lying. Okay. Let's see.
I've been trying not to put on my hoodie. It's getting a little chilly over here.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, on this side, yeah.
Okay.
And then when I start getting chilly, I get sleepy. So
it's actually pretty good. Or like it's just the right temperature regulation over here.
Yeah.
White Lion says, you realize if you get reparations, you can no longer blame white people for your problems, right? Y'all good with that? Nah, White Lion, I don't think that's exactly how it works.
How about just stop causing the problems?
There you go. White Lion, I'm curious. I wonder how honest you are with yourself or with other white people about your feelings about black people and how that influences how you interact with black people. Because I have believe it or not, I have a lot of conversations with white people who peep me on the game. And the conversations that go on behind closed doors and views that white people really have about black people. And part of what is aggravating behind that is you think that we're dumb to that. And so then when you want to pretend like racial bias and things like that aren't a factor in how you think and how you regard, maybe not all, but some black folks, that's where I had a problem. Because you know what you think. You know how you feel. You're in a lot of conversations. You know how grandma, grandpa, all of them people think. Your friends and their friends. You know what it is. You know what it is better than us. But it's the disingenuousness of being honest about that irks me. And I'm in a privileged position at the paper because, people will share things sometimes in anger and sometimes because they want to have genuine conversation about it. So part of the challenge is if we could ever have an intellectually honest conversation about race, it would benefit all of us. But I know what it is because I talk to a lot like white folks don't want to get that racist label. Like that's the biggest thing that I see with like a lot of white people. They stuck on that. They don't want to be called a racist. And so a lot of times they don't want to engage in those types of conversations because, quite frankly, some of the thoughts that they have and things that they will express will come off that way. Because it's based in ignorance because you don't talk to or deal with a lot of black people. You don't understand black people, the culture. You don't know the history. .1230 WDBZ, the buzz of Cincinnati. This is the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock. We're going to get right to the phone lines because we've had some people who've been waiting patiently on hold. And my man, Doug Springs. Doug, how you doing, man? Long time no see, no talk. It's been a minute.
Yes, brother. How you been doing, man?
I've been doing good, man. You all right?
Hey, everything's fine. What was your original question?
Really, we were just talking about, the 4th of July holiday, 250th anniversary, where you celebrating, where you're not, and it's sort of this larger question around not whether people love America, but whether you feel like America loves you.
And that's what I thought. Okay, regarding does America love us? And I'm going to repeat a lot what's been said, but basically, I hear fight and struggle and oppression. And from day one, before there was a Revolutionary War, the colonies, they used black people to protect the colonists from the Indians. So blacks had to fight before the Revolutionary War. Then at the start of the Revolutionary War, blacks fought for America, for the freedoms of America. And then some of the colonies said, wait a minute, we can't have blacks fighting for us. And they passed laws to stop the blacks from fighting the British. And then they had to reverse those laws because they didn't have enough men to fight. So again, free and enslaved people, blacks fought for the America. And then right after that war, you had the War of 1812. Blacks again fought for America. And then the British said, hey, look, we're going to offer y'all freedom. And thousands of blacks went with the British, but just as many stayed with America and fought for the Americans. And then we had the Spanish-American War. Blacks fought for America. And then we had to fight Jim Crow against after the Spanish-American War. And then there was the War of the South, West, and the West against the Indians. Again, blacks fought for America against the Indians. And then we had World War I. Blacks fought over in Europe to free Europeans. And then we had World War II. Blacks fought for America again to free Europeans. And then we had the Civil Rights Movement. Here in this country, we had to fight for our civil rights. And then during those same times, we had to fight for equal opportunity and jobs. Blacks have fought from day one until now, and even now with Trump. So the question becomes, if America loved us or liked us or even respected us, why would we have to fight so much to get those rights? Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Doug. All right. We're going to go to Sly, who's been waiting. Sly, what's on your mind?
Everything's everything, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'll start out by saying I won't celebrate the 4th of July because there was promise of proclamation to free slaves that fought if they were able to get us out of British rule. And when the battle was over, they were put back in chains. Okay? Now, a few callers now. You had one that was talking about this $1,000 that's supposed to go to children. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, under the Biden administration, wasn't there a child tax credit that was getting at least half of parents out of poverty?
Yes.
And it was abolished when Trump Part 2 came in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And then you have, well, I ain't going to even go there. Next up, when I hear people speaking of independence or third party, do you know how many independent presidents or third party presidents we've had?
None.
Yeah, one.
Oh, one. Okay. Who was that
Washington.
one? Oh.
George Washington was an independent.
All right.
Then he switched to Democrat. Okay, but understand this here. I'm a Gen Xer, and this is a heads up or FYI to the Gen Xers, the Millennials, the Gen Zs, and whatever comes after. You will not see a third-party president in your lifetime. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? Have you ever heard the Powell memo?
No.
Okay. 8 days after Nixon took us off the gold standard, which was August 15th, 1971, well, on August 23rd of 71, there was a corporate attorney who also was a big shot with Philip Morris Tobacco. He was the one that was clapping back saying that cigarette smoking did not cause cancer and things like that. Well, he wrote an 8-page memo and gave it to the Secretary of Commerce. And in that 8-page memo, and you can look this up, Louis Francis Powell came up with a manifesto on how to give corporations control, okay, and how to overtake democracy.
Mm.
And with that, that's how we ended up with AIPAC. That's how we ended up with ALEC. That's how we ended up with Citizens United. That's how we ended up with the Heritage Foundation. Every single political influencing group is a result of an 8-page document written by Louis Powell, and then Nixon took him and made him a congressman. And he was in Congress up until 1977 or 78. Okay. No, I'm sorry. He made him he put him on the Supreme Court. He put Louis Powell on the Supreme Court. Okay, so until you take money out of politics, you'll never see an independent.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. I mean, that's it's not just about not seeing an independent. It's about actually getting policy and things of that nature that people actually want. You need to get the money out of politics because
and in that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And in that memo, it also details on how to make sure that the Republican Party can have infinite power.
Mm.
I want you all. I mean, take some time out of your weekend or whenever. Look at the Powell memo, and then holler back.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sly. Thanks for educating us. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we got Mac and Twin on hold. And we're pulling in for the final 30 minutes of the Lincoln Ware Show. This is Kevin Aldridge with you until 1 o'clock.
Bringing you the stories that go beyond the headlines. The Tavis Smiley Show.
WDBZ-AM with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Wake up every weekday morning with Get Up Mornings with me, Erica Campbell, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 1230 The Buzz.
.1230 WDBZ, the Buzz of Cincinnati, your talk station. The Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you, and we are preparing to pull this train into the station. But before that, we got a couple of more callers we're going to try to get to. We're going to go to Mac. Mac, what's on your mind this afternoon now?
Yeah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You know, I live in the present, not the past.
Okay.
And the thing is America has been pretty good to me, and I love it. I guess sometimes you have to go to other countries and not just visit, but live there for a while to realize America is pretty good. The thing is Rome had slaves, white slaves. I mean, come on, almost every country had them. America can do better, and they're trying to. We're not a perfect nation. You know, the thing is, I work my butt off, and sometimes you have to plan and work. I didn't educate myself that well, but I worked hard. And my wife and I, we're millionaires. You know, the thing is you know what? And I was a janitor, but I worked. I worked for the rich people, you know, and made pretty good money per hour working for them. But also, I invested my money by also working for a company. So the thing is sometimes we got to hand down wealth, plan, stop being bitter. And maybe why I'm not so bitter is because back in, I think, 53, 59, I was going to a white school down in Kentucky, you know, before really the law came out. And the thing is they also, it was like in 50, probably about 54 or something like that black people was going to that school. And you wouldn't think down in the South that would happen, but it did. So I can't go back way back in slavery time and all that. That has nothing to do with me. I want to know my history so I don't repeat it, but sometimes we can let that hold us down. So, but anybody that don't like this country, I mean, they want to visit some other ones like Iran, Iraq, you know. Matter of fact, I might even pay for them their trip over there to visit.
So, Mac, let me ask you this, because I hear that sentiment said a lot, and I think like, and I understand, and so I think there's a difference. Somebody said this on the show. I think black people in this country who've had a pretty good life and have achieved some success are more likely to say what you say.
Right.
But how many black folks like you account for the majority of our population? So I think so I think we have to be careful about saying, and I'm not saying that anybody doesn't have a right to love, and I agree. You know, I'm one of those people that I wouldn't want to live anywhere else other than in the United States of America. I'm not going anywhere else, and most of us are not. But that still doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that because I've had a pretty good life or things have gone well that I don't have an obligation to challenge the country to live up to the ideals of what it says it does. And so I think people who do that, this notion of, well, if you do that and you don't like it, you ought to go live somewhere else. Well, no, we don't do that. We don't do that with any other parts of our lives where there are things that don't meet our standard of expectations. We try to improve it, right? We try to make it better. And so it's not bitterness. It might be frustration. And true, we don't live in the past anymore, but the past is still with us. Yeah, we may not be in slavery. We may not be dealing with Jim Crow, but you can still see a lot of those attitudes and things have not. You can't legislate away what's inside people's hearts and their minds. And that's what we struggle with in this country is, yes, we've been able to change laws. Yes, we've been able to do some things, everything except change some hearts and perceptions that are unfortunately naggingly persistent.
Well, I'm 72 years old. And the thing is I deal more with my own black people than I do whites and others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's who you live around,
try to
probably.
hold me back. I just look at the United States as United States. I'm part of it, and it's something the country can do for all of us, policy-wise. Yeah, they can improve a lot of things. But I don't look, I'm a black man, I'm this, because you get nowhere. I look at myself as a citizen of the United States, you know? And you got so many people from other countries that's trying to get over here, and they die to get over here, crossing the, you know, the Rio Grande and places like that. So, no, people can have opinions, but sometimes just really complaining, try doing something with their lives.
All
you
right.
know? And even if I hadn't, and before, I wasn't bitter with the United States. I wasn't bitter. I didn't complain about it. I just got out and worked. I don't worry about what other people, whites or whoever, I don't give a damn what they think about. I really don't.
All right, Mac. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the perspective, brother.
Yep, have a good one.
All right, you have a good one, too. All right, let's go to Twin. What's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, I got my Air Force One, my gear on, my Gatorade with Mad Dog 22 in it, and I'm ready for you, man.
What flavor? What flavor? What flavor Gatorade? What flavor Gatorade you mixing?
Ain't no flavor Gatorade. It's Mad Dog. I got the Wow cherry kind.
Okay. All right.
Waiting for you. Yeah.
So what you got for me? What you got for me?
Hey, man, I agree with the last caller and then Shelby, I believe. Hey, if I'm, say I got a master, bachelor, or something like that, fresh out of college, and I know that Kevin is a journalist, which he is, I want to know how can I get game from Kevin to be a good journalist. How Kevin got a business, and they say you got say you own Walmart or something, but I want to own the cleaners or, video game store, so arcade game. How do you establish that, Kevin? Where do you start from? Each one teach one, man. I mean, it's up to you to make the choices if you want to prosper or whatever, or move forward with your life. I'm not going to have a mindset of being oppressed of a Democrat or a Republican and everything. People talk about what Trump did and all that. Reason why I voted for him, because I knew he was more a gangster to use his bully pulpit, which Obama, I trusted when I voted for him to use his to take care of the affairs of Chicago and what was going down in Chicago on the criminality side. But he didn't do that. He took care of the LGBT and them Asian and the white affairs and looked over us. So this mindset of every day, y'all stuck in a hole, Kevin, them Democrats. And people take their hard time, Kevin, for years, man. 60, whatever the Voters' Right Pass Act, 65, whatever, 64. Took that into right now, 26. Took their hard time, man, voting Democrat, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. God put Trump in there for a purpose and a reason. To deflect and distract of what's really going on in the United States of America. This is how they've been doing, y'all. Whether you white or black. I'm going to set, regardless of anything, Kevin, I'm going to set my mans in them up. We going to run this board. He looking at it like this, Kevin. Y'all had 12 years to get what y'all wanted. You had a white president and a black and a vice mayor, a black woman. And you think I'm going to look out for y'all? You ain't got to worry about the government, president looking out for you. It's up to Congress to look out for you. But what he did, he put his mans in place. So anything that he want to shoot through there, he got his mans in place that can shoot it through. But now you got somebody that's coming back like, no, this ain't right, Trump. This ain't right. But if you want something passed now, he got to sign off on it. Now you got to really start. He gonna stall y'all out because hey, guess what? In order for me to pass this, y'all got to pass what I want. So they play mind games on both sides, man. Whether we Democrat or Republican, and we gotta the Democrats, they losing right now. I don't know what the hell wrong with them, Kevin. To be honest, I swear I don't know what's wrong with them. Not nan one of them, when they came out and, hey, get the cripe out of Megan Steyer, Oprah, and all them, they had the cripe Roland Martin. They ain't doing none of that. They ain't doing none of that. They talking about something else that ain't even pertaining to what's really crying out for the black community, man. We go hard in the paint for these people, and this the thanks we get. That's why I say I'm backing away from this, man. That voting and all that don't mean nothing to me. Do for yourself. And then once you do for yourself and your family, you can put your bands in them on. Hey, man, this how I did this, dog. This how you can prosper off of it. This how you can move forward. Hell with the government right now, because right now they ain't doing nothing. They doing that for themselves, man. That's how I look at it, Kevin. And people right now, these local leaders and activists and all these people, these shooting and all that's going on, they ain't not talking about getting no money. They ain't talking about how to stop this crime and all that. Hey, but them immigrants, just watch out for them immigrants, man. And watch out for these political people, them Israel and them people like Mike Donnie that's getting elected in all these cities. They about to take over. And we go be through. If you ain't got the power of God in your mind, man, you're through.
All right,
you have a good and
you
blessed weekend holiday, man.
Hey,
everybody
you
in the chat,
same.
man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
One love. All right, man.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come out, we got a few more people on hold. We're going to close out the show. I'm going to give y'all the final word as we take you through the last 15 minutes of the Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you for about 15 more minutes, 12:30 WDBZ.
Hey, y'all, what up? This your boy, Ricky Smiley. I want to drop you an invite to something a little more personal. This is Rick.
Yolanda said, hang up on him. Is Twin really is Twin really, has he really won Caller of the Year 3 times? Or is Vernon just clowning?
He won it once, I think. He won it once. Call of the Year. I don't know how, but yeah, he won it. Yeah.
So what is it? What is the criteria? What criteria does Lincoln use to determine who the Caller of the Year is?
The votes. People call in and vote on it.
Oh, okay. So the people decide.
Yep.
You know, there's probably some reality show that's in that somewhere that you could create. Had to put some thought into that. Okay, he won once and became the Turkey of the Year next year. Gobble, gobble. Ooh, that's a good point there. Chocolate Girl Wonder said, do for yourself, but every day Twin looking for a black leader to lead him. And Turner says, on one hand, he says Do for yourself. On the other hand, he says put God first. Which one is it? It's both. It's both. Nat, you got to do both. You got to put God first so that he put you in a position so that you can do for yourself. I'm just trying to help the brother out here with his argument. Dang, Brent Beard went hard in the paint on Twin.
It's 2026, where karaoke meets concert and everybody gets funked up.
1230 The Buzz, your talk station.
.1230 WDBZ, The Buzz of Cincinnati. The Lincoln Ware Show. Kevin Aldridge with you. Here for about 2 more callers. We're going to try to get them in right quick before the end of the show. We got Aliyah, who's been waiting on hold. Aliyah, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. You take care of power in the seat of power, of the man of power. Kevin, I'm as an elder in the community, I'm very thrilled to see the last of the ravages of what a created religion has done to our people and the world. And that's Christianity. Do you, as a Christian minister, look around and you see where you can actually see it coming apart at the seams?
Where I see what coming apart at the seams? The world?
Yeah, the religion of Christianity, the hippie on the stick. That's one of the main things that had us divided, and as it was intended divinely. But it's good to know that the truth outweighs the lie at any time.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. So finish up your point, and then I'll respond.
Well, my point is that even when I was younger, I suspected the religion of being false and that it was being engineered by money and racism. But now to know it, to go through the scriptures and prove that the European contribution or something like thickness in the blanket, it's good to see it coming to the fore so our people can come on up and step away and do what the Creator God said, and that's return to Him, and He will return to you.
All right.
So I'm just saying it as a wonderful time in life. But the way you're sounding, you don't sound like you're up on that news.
No, I watch, I read a lot, and I know where you're going to, and we've had this conversation before, on air about what you believe and what you don't believe, and we don't share the same beliefs, which I'm cool with that. It is about belief. You're saying what you believe to be truth, and I'm saying
I'm talking about what I can prove to be true.
Okay, so Aliyah, well, we ain't got time to do it on the air, but
okay, yeah,
you catch me at some time, and we'll sit down and you can try to show me what proof you have. How about that?
Most certainly will.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
hey, you have a good one, brother. All right. We're gonna go to Janice. Janice, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon, Kevin. I heard Twin. I just had to call. I have to rebuke some of the things he says. For all the young people listening, your vote does matter. don't listen to anybody tell you that you should not vote. The only reason why Twin's able to talk on this radio station and we have the rights and privileges that we have today is because we voted.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why all this money is going into Trump's whatever he's doing is because they're trying to take our votes away. That vote should be locked up in a vault somewhere. That's how precious it is, especially for black people in this country. I mean, before our ancestors or generations before us fought and died, which they had to do in order to gain the right to vote, we could barely do anything. I know everybody says, well, we can just go ahead and work and do what we have to do, but sometimes we wouldn't even be able to work in certain places or do some things if we had not voted and changed the laws.
Yeah.
So when I hear that, and he thinks Trump is a gangster, I mean, is that something to be proud of for our young people to hear?
Mm-hmm.
This man is robbing us blind. He's robbing our country blind. And that's coming out of our pockets. And he's talking about he's a gangster. I see nothing positive about that at all. So when I listen to him, it's like, where has he been all his life? But I do understand, though, the lives, personal lives sort of come alive when you hear people speak. You can kind of understand what their lives were like. So I just want to say to all the young people out there, don't you dare ever give up thinking that your vote doesn't count.
Yep.
And the Democrats are doing things. They have law. We just don't hear everything. Mm-hmm. Trump is getting shot down in a lot of ways with the different rulings that have been taking place. So I just wanted to leave a positive note to my young people. Don't give up your right to vote.
All right. Thank you, Janice. And you know, along those lines, Janice, I think one of the things that, you know, we kind of forget is that our government system is set up for things to take a while to happen. And I think because we don't see change immediately, like we even think about some of the gains that we made through civil rights, those things didn't just happen in like 6 months or a year. This took place over a considerable amount of time, and people had to stay engaged and keep marching and keep voting and keep doing a whole lot of things over a sustained period of time to get that change. And the founders set it up that way so that you couldn't just change laws and do things with the whims, that you actually had to go through these processes and things which are frustrating and take time, but it was designed that way because they didn't want us just changing up things willy-nilly. And so I think sometimes we get this idea of like, oh, I just vote in one election and that's supposed to change everything. That's not the way that this thing is set up, that it's a sustained process and that you may have to go through years before you get the type of sustained change that you want. All right, I think we got time for probably one more call. We're going to try to get JB in here real quick. JB, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I say we should vote, and young people should have a voice in politics and what's going on. Because this man, is like the lady said, the caller before you, is taking everything out of the American people and changing the way, you know, the values that we have and the things that go on. You know, I mean, the violence that's going on in the city is something else. It looks like there's no stop to it, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think by voting, you know, you can change a lot of things, you know. They saying, like Twin was saying, give up the vote and don't vote. I'm saying you should vote, you know.
Yes, sir.
You should vote.
All right.
mean, even if you don't know how, get somebody to show you how to vote. Because if you don't, in the next I say 3 to 4 years from now, if we don't vote or get this man out of here, I don't know what it's going to be like. You know, I think that they'll be trying to execute the black people around, you know, because they have done it to all other nationalities in the country, and it just don't look good at all.
All right, JB. Well, thank you for your call. All right, I'm going to try to get Sister Regina in. You got maybe about 30 seconds, Sister Regina.
Okay, greetings, Brother Aldridge, and to your knowledgeable audience. The sister that was on was speaking about voting. I got this to say. Brother Bob Marley tried to tell y'all, get up, stand up for your rights. Don't give up the fight. And Brother Pontobanton said, life is a struggle, but you never give in. I'm out of here. Shalom.
All right. So there we have it. Hey, listen, this has been a great conversation today, everybody. Lots of great perspectives and points of view that were brought forward today. Whether you celebrate or whether you don't celebrate the 4th of July, I wish you peace and blessings. And I pray that you're safe. You stay cool this weekend. And I'll be back on Monday filling in for Lincoln Ware. This is 1230 WDBZ. Your talk station, the Buzz of Cincinnati. Yep. Let me see here. I'm going to scan through this chat real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate all of the comment. I know y'all was having a pretty good discussion and debate on in here. Let's see here. Let's see. Brent says, vote for the over 400,000 black women who were fired from their federal jobs because of Trump. Marie Learn says, we vote once, don't get what we want, then we stop. They voted for 50 years to get rid of Roe versus Wade. You know what? You better say that thing. Marie, that is sustained commitment to trying to get what you want. Oh, the big piece of chicken, Brent, on Saturday at the Montgomery Studios. What time? You know, a pastor will always come out for some chicken. That's probably, I shouldn't be stereotyping pastors like that, but hey, if the chicken right, it's all right. Hey, thanks, Nat Turner. I appreciate it. Hey, Kev Grant, I see you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Friday is a free day off, 3-day weekend. Enjoy it. Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel Campbell. I appreciate it, brother. Brett said 12 noon, but you know all the food won't be ready until 6. Oh man, okay. Well, that's good anyway, cause 6 that's around my dinner time anyway. So I'm good with that. Hey, thank you, Beauty in the Dark. I appreciate you. Hot Mike will be on tomorrow, D. White, 1:15. I think we usually get things going. So if you want to get your fix of Cincinnati talk, Hot Mike will be on tomorrow. Tonica, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. And we'll see you again on Monday. All right, y'all be safe.